Yes, sorry, sir.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our council meeting. Madam Clerk, could you please read the roll?
Mr. Bozen?
Here.
Mr. Nichols?
Here.
Ms. Creighton-Smith?
Here.
Mr. Childs?
Here.
Mr. Simon?
Here.
Ms. Wilder?
Here.
Mr. Foyce?
Here.
All right, thank you. Would you please join me in a moment of silence? All right, thank you. The pledge this evening will be led by Kelly Felkley, City Clerk.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the agenda as proposed, as well as the approval of the minutes of the April 21st, 2025 regular council session, April 23rd, 2025 special council session as proposed.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. All right, we have an agenda. The first item on the agenda is public comments. Please state your name and address for the record on non-agenda items. Let us know your thoughts.
Aaron Stacy Roberts, 411 Almond Street, Waterloo. I'm going to jump back, and it's going to go back for the public safety matter that I mentioned at the beginning of coming here and for the future. In 1998, prior to the case of assault on my daughter, I had went to an attorney, Jeff Lippman, and I'm not anti-Semitic, I'm anti-wrong against my children. Jeff had a assistant, his name was Brandon, and I was explaining to Jeff what had took place in looking for the life insurance monies, and I told him that one of the judges up here had done wrong. And he told me in 98 that a judge could have the police come get me off my couch and whoop my ass, and there was nothing I could do about it. The last I knew, he was a magistrate judge. So as I speak on these judges, I'm not anti-judges, I'm anti-wrong. And these people that's doing wrong is against our very democracy, to be truthful with you. So with that being said, after he told me that, and the reason I gave you that letter with my daughter's name on it, because I'm doing her an injustice by leaving out what the true part of this was, because a sexual assault could be a number of things. That could be touching your breast. Okay, what happened to her in case 9914612, a person penetrated her vagina as she wanted me to be said. And then they left a message, tell your daddy he no longer has $500,000. If you tell your mother, we're gonna kill her. Okay, so what this has been ever since then is obstruction of justice. Now, as I had mentioned the last time, I was speaking about the farm being sold and how David Odekirk played a part. I filed a motion on David Odekirk with the Commission on Judicial Qualification, and after that I said he retaliated again on December 12th, well actually with Roberts versus Roberts was where I left it off at, to add insult to injury after taking the house from me and me having to pay $48,000, half of $48,000 on the house that was appraised at $13,000. He turned around December 2nd of 2022 and ordered a garnishment on 13 fines, which I have been paying on since 2015. So what I'm trying to get to is you have judges that are totally working with wanton misconduct to obstruct justice, and it's a dereliction of duty what they're doing. As I stated before, I'm one of God's favorites. To be quite honest with you, I don't worry about the threats of killing, because if they were to kill me today, I could get more work done coming from heaven. And it wouldn't be as many as him having Noah build an ark, but I've been promised by my Heavenly Father, don't fear that. But other people are gonna react different if y'all continue to let this happen. And you're gonna be talking about, we're very familiar with the guy. You made it.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right, you too, thank you. All right, is there anyone else that would like to comment to the council on non-agenda related items?
Yes, good evening. Darren Speed, 1100 Amesboro Avenue. I am here representing the Alabar Hills area. Obviously, we had a tragic home explosion in that area, in our area. And as collectively as a group, I'm here just to represent the people on there. Is there any cleanup that's coming up quickly? We are trying to heal as a community, but there is not a road that we could go home on that we can't see this tragedy every day. They were out there a week ago Friday and I think they put the wood with the wood. I don't know if they're doing what they're doing, if they're recycling things, but just wondering if there's anything that is going to be done soon, and if there's anything the public can help with.
Okay, hold on one second. Hey, Marty, you want to give you had a conversation with folks. Where is it in the hands of? Is the city able to go on the property and do anything? But thank you for your question.
Martin Peterson, Legal Department. I had a conversation with an insurance adjuster for the homeowner where the event originated, and they haven't decided that there's coverage yet, and therefore most insurance policies, when something like this would happen, would have a cleanup provision, and that's not appearing to be the case with regard to this particular insured. And so the other issue is whether the city can go on to private property to do cleanups. We typically only do that when there's a court order. So I guess that's what I can tell you, Mayor.
So Marty, when with the property, if there's no executor, do we know if does a bank own it now? Or have we found out if there was a mortgage or?
Last time I checked, an estate had not been open. It is possible under Iowa law for a creditor to open up an estate, but I don't know that that's been done as of yet.
So for instance, I guess I wonder, like I said, who has the mortgage, right? Because if it's a credit union or a bank or someone that has the mortgage, I wonder, are we able to find that? That's public information, I would assume, somewhere. So I'm thinking maybe that may be the next route to contact that lender directly. But we have been reaching out to a family, to folks to try to figure out. I got another call, actually one or two calls already about what's going to happen, and just not even debris just on the site, but debris still out in the neighborhood. And I guess, Chief Duncan, is that still an active investigation? So like if someone could go on there, clean up the site, is it still active, or is it?
Rob Duncan, Chief of Police. I think I can speak for Bill on this one. No, it's. I think we've got a clear answer of what happened, and we don't have any need to go through anything any further. So I think as soon as we can get it cleared up, the better.
I think the challenge with this, normally there is a family member, there is someone that, is going to take over that situation. In this case,
I believe there's a mother, but I'm not quite sure what the relationship was with it.
Yeah. Chief Beck, I got a question. Would this site could this site be deemed as a hazard and emergency cleanup potentially to do things?
Chief.
I'm not talking about the gas line. I don't want to start that, but I'm saying just with the debris and those items on there, is there wood that somebody could step on? What would this be? Because I know in the past we've had locations. Normally, we would go ahead and do it, and then the insurance company would come back in and pay, because there's a portion of it that's allocated for cleanups if there's a fire or this situation. It doesn't seem like we have any of that.
I can't think of anything that comes right to my mind that it could be deemed like a fire hazard or clearly not a hazardous materials hazard.
So I think maybe tomorrow we go and we find out who has the mortgage, if there is one, I think that's probably the next route, and figure out how to have that conversation, because I didn't know you could have a house or mortgage without insurance. Right.
Well, there's insurance, but they can deny coverage for an intentional act.
Sir, is that something that we could start code enforcement, at least if we have to have legal action to push the cleanup? Right.
Okay. All right. So what we'll do, let us continue to come up with a couple options. But yeah, they call and we've been communicating where we need to, but we'll take a couple suggestions from the council and then let us continue to work on it. But yeah, you're right. It's a complete hazard area.
It's hard for us to heal.
Yeah.
Because we live it every day, and it's just the trauma between everything of that, and, you know, there's several of us that are seeking, you know.
Well, I'm gonna have to have you come up to the rostrum. You got about 35 seconds, but I hate to put you on that timer, but your point is well
We just want to
taken.
get something done, because as a community, we just want to heal. We just want to get back to our normal everyday lives, and with this here, it's just not going to happen, and
Right.
we just need prayer for that whole community.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else here to speak on non-agenda related items?
Hi, Mary Heller, 1162 Lindner. I just want a couple things clarified on the new parking, and I did say something to John. The current handicap spots that we have, are they all going to stay handicap spots? Or are they going to be moved closer to where the kiosks are by any chance? I don't know if anybody is here that can answer that at this particular time.
She's, yes, ma'am.
And I had asked John also, excuse me, on our corner, they had put the kiosk on the other side of the street where Anton's is. Well, there's nobody over on that side that would use it. It would be used more on our side, but he said there was a possibility that there might be one down halfway down the block, and I did not check yet, so I don't know.
It's on the corner.
By Rockets.
By Rockets.
That's not halfway down the block.
It's on the corner.
And the other one's by Locals.
On the corner of East.
Okay, so if we're staff, could you come up to the podium so we can, please?
Sheila Steffen, Public Works Coordinator. Unfortunately, I wasn't in on the traffic meeting, so I'm not sure what all the handicap spaces will be, if they'll be next to the kiosk. I was kind of looking at Bridget, if she knew either. So I can check into you and
Okay.
get that information back.
Well, my concern is that it doesn't, for the average person who doesn't have any problem getting around, it's not any big deal to have to go a half a block to something or whatever. But for those of us who are handicapped, it is.
Absolutely.
And so, especially in the winter when it gets icy and whatnot else. So I just wanted to know, if we can clarify that a little bit more, it would be very helpful, I think.
I'll catch you after the meeting and get your information so I can
Okay.
research that.
She may not want to be here that long, so if you want to get her.
Looks like
get
you
her
have a
phone
pretty long
number-
meeting.
If you want to get her phone number now.
If you have something,
Okay, I
I'll
can-
write it down for you.
I'll send it to you. It's a map.
I can't remember numbers.
I tried to, and he said he couldn't open it. I've got it here. Here, you forward it to John and you,
Didn't give myself enough room there. There you go. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. Can I
Yes, sir.
clarify one thing?
Yes, sir.
Mary, just one thing to clarify. You do not need to register for that free time for parking.
Oh, and that was good to find out about that, so that when somebody comes down, they don't have to register if they know they're going to be there less than an hour?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Matthew Carpenter, 518 Jefferson Street for Carpenter's Diner. I too want to talk about the parking and how upset myself and my neighboring businesses are with the locations of these kiosks. At my facility, you're asking my customers parking on the 500 block of Jefferson Street to walk across Jefferson, walk across 4th, and to the kiosks. Your answer is, well, just text and pay. Well, I'm here to tell you that my customers that come in during the week and are using these metered times use flip phones. They're not going to text and pay to pay these kiosks. So we're just totally taking out the elderly customers that all of us business owners have down here. I'm not a very good public speaker. I've been working on it, but we're upset, and we need something done. As this lady talked about the handicap spots, she had 2 handicap spots in front of her business. The meters are right there. They paid them, they go into their business. Now, if they park in those same spots, they got to walk across 4th Street, they got to walk across Sycamore to pay the kiosk. Again, people that don't use text and pay, they have flip phones. Mr. Bozen was in the diner Friday. Customers were asking him, well, where do we do? Well, you go over to Epic Fines and pay the kiosk. They do not want to do that. If it's cold, below 0, if it's raining, these people don't want to walk a block and a half to a kiosk. You go to Big Head Burger, my neighbor. You talked about moving a kiosk over to Carpenter's. I don't want to take away from another business. Big Head Burger, you want to park in front of Big Head Burger and you don't text and pay? You got to walk a block and a half to Epic Fines, across 2 streets. And you got to walk across 2 streets back to Big Head Burger. That's ridiculous. Mr. Simon's mother, I know her. She's 90 years old. Had a conversation with her. She don't want to come downtown and walk a block and a half to pay a kiosk. She don't use mobile apps and have text and pay. The main problem here, I feel like, is not enough stakeholders were involved in these discussions, and it's really disappointing. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anthony Wayne, full of love, 858 Olympic Drive, Waterloo, Iowa. Thank you for seeing me. I got a letter in the mail that stated I would owe $5,700 for sidewalk repair.
So, Mr. Koloff, so what we'll do in a couple seconds.
Is that on the agenda? Because I didn't see it.
No,
That's
you're
what-
fine. You're
All right.
fine. We'll have that on the agenda. We also have Umi here from our engineering department, and she'll be able to talk to you after that part as well. So I'll call you up first when that time comes up.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah.
My name is John Hayes. I live at 110 Sunset Road, and I have a business on West 4th too, and the 2 people behind me that just spoke regarding parking, the one thing, I agree with them. I have a business that opens at 11 a.m. and I'm gonna make it 4, just because the anticipation of this whole thing has just scared people off to begin with. I know parts of it had to be done, but one thing I wanna remind everybody on is the situation with the parking. If these kiosks are going to be at the end of the block and where they're going to be placed, the thing that we're going to have to deal with right away this fall is the snow removal. As we all know, it's been a big challenge downtown with the snow removal, which means if we're going to have the traveling, the streets get plowed, they push it into the parking spots, and then sometimes it'll be 2 and 3 days before they come back and clean that up. And we're not going to have to. We can't deal with that if we're going to have these kiosks and parking the way it's going to be. But the other thing, too, I wanted to say while I'm up here and I have almost a minute left is I found out today that we are not having hanging flower baskets downtown anymore. And I got to tell you, that honestly broke my heart. I'm not even mad about it. I'm just sad. And there's been a lot of people over the last 20 years that has put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into making sure they were down there, and delivered and picked up and hung and everything. And if Main Street can't get this done, then we need to figure out a way to get Main Street what they need so they can get back up on dim light poles. And if that means, you know, like my Waterloo days, take it to a different department or have Public Works take it over and put it in their budget, whatever you got to do, we got to figure this out because they are a big part of what people see in Waterloo. And I mean a big part. Everybody looks forward to going to the 4th Street cruise knowing that Jessica's going to have them hung already, and they love them, and they always have loved them. And it's almost like getting a business card with no logo on it and just words, because those are what downtown is. And I'm just going to tell you, me and a lot of people are extremely disappointed. If there is any way, I watched your meeting last week, and I know what you guys are dealing with. This money situation is terrible, but we got to figure out a way to keep them flowers downtown. I know they're not going to be here this year, and I know we have some that are going to be on the corners, but we got to get them down there. And I can't stress to you more than me and half the people downtown that that's got to be done. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Jessica Rucker, Main Street, Waterloo. I'll start by addressing the last comment. It's not just funding why we're not having hanging baskets, it's volunteers. Those hanging baskets have to be watered every day. With more than 100 baskets hanging, it takes about 3 to 4 hours to water those, and we have not been able to get the volunteers to help us. We have been running into the hanging baskets dying very early in the summer on dry stretches, and as an organization, we decided to go to planter boxes this year rather than hanging baskets because those don't have to be watered every day. We're still gonna have beautiful flowers downtown. They're still gonna be all along 4th Street. We just won't have the hanging baskets because we don't have the people available to help us water the flowers 7 days a week. All right, now why I was gonna come up anyway. I'm really excited to share some details about 2 upcoming events to celebrate downtown and get ready for the season full of energy and activity. The first is Tour de Lou, a scavenger hunt happening on Thursday, May 15th from 5 to 8 p.m. This is a brand new twist on our downtown celebration that's all about exploring, discovering, and having fun. Participants will follow a trail of historic photos and search for the exact downtown locations where the photos were taken. Every match reveals fascinating facts about our city's past, so it's part scavenger hunt, part history lesson, and all around a great time. We're excited to be partnering with the city's Historic Preservation Commission on this event and making it a one-of-a-kind of experience to then lead into the annual awards that Historic Preservation will be giving out at the end of the event. Then on Saturday, May 17th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. is our Downtown Cleanup Day, Main Street Sweep. So we will be recruiting volunteers to come downtown and help us clean up trash, weed, and really get downtown ready for all of the amazing events we have coming up the following week. So whether you're part of a business or club or just want to pitch in, we would love to have you guys come join us. You can find out information about both of these on our website and sign up to volunteer or purchase tickets. We'd love to see you all, city council members, city staff, and the community at both of these events. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Wayne Nathan, 548 Cloverdale. Good evening, Mayor and Council. What I want to bring to your attention this evening is on the Mullen Street Bridge underneath on the north side, there's quite a bit of debris that has collected there over time that has floated down the river. This needs to be cleaned up because if we get heavy rains here or further up north, that acts as a block to the river flowing. And it'll just cause problems and so forth. And it needs to be cleaned up. Number 2, what is happening with the 11th Street Bridge? I notice it's still closed. When's that going to open?
All right, did you have a number 3?
No, just 2.
All right.
2 issues.
Mr. Knutson, it'd be a great time to give an update on the bridges. Thank you, Mr. Nathan.
Jamie Knutson, City Engineer. Hopefully, within the next 2 weeks, 11th will be open. Blackhawk won't, but hopefully 11th will be open. We had our walkthrough last Thursday, Friday, whichever day it was. We went out and did a walkthrough with punch lists and stuff. So there are still things that they're correcting and some other things that they need to finish, but hopefully within the next 2 weeks, it'll be open.
So with 11th Street, there won't be any delays because of siding or special projects like Park, right? That one will be
Nope, it'll
completely
be open. The only thing will be eventually at some point, the railings are in production, but it'd probably be June-ish, somewhere in there, that the railings will actually be installed. But the road will be open.
And then the question too about Park Avenue, that comes up as well. You want to give folks an update looking at this?
It's open. I mean, the road is open. They're just finishing the installation of the railings. So if you haven't been by there recently, they've got a lot of them in, but they're still working on that, so.
All right. And then back to 11th Street. Right now, that project is past schedule.
Yep.
What's happening to the contractor for that not being open?
Nothing at the moment. The DOT specifications that the project was bid under requires us to submit working day reports every week. And basically, at the end of the day or at the end of the contract, we'll all sit down together and the contractor will say, well, we should get this, we should get that. There'll be a discussion on it, but there will be some form of penalty. How much, I don't know yet, because they still are not
Is that
done.
negotiated by the DOT or is it negotiated
It's negotiated
by the city?
between the city, the DOT, and the contractor.
So there could potentially be repercussions based upon the timing of when this
Yeah,
bridge opens
there's
up.
going to be some. It's just a matter of how much at this point, because again, until the bridge actually gets open, we're still counting working days.
Okay.
So,
All right, thank you.
I've taken notice on this. Very seldom I ever see anybody working on in that area. I just wondered if there's a penalty for this
Yes,
person.
there is, and yes, there is, sir. Yes.
Hopefully so. Thank you.
Yep. Right. Is there anyone else that would like to speak with regards to non-agenda related items?
David Dryer, 3145 West 4th Street. Couple of questions. Is there a website where all these kiosks are going to be so that people will know? And I'm not real computer literate. Again, I hear the thing about flip phones. Those people won't be computer literate. Or some sort of mailing that lets these people know where they have to go, and then they can decide whether they're going to do business with that particular establishment or not. Cedar Falls at one time had meters, took them out, talked about putting them back, and decided not to, and that Main Street is always busy. Our Main Street is not. That's a problem. And then the second one is the 11th Street Bridge. I guess, having been a contractor, if I needed something by this date, I didn't wait to order it till it was past time to order it. That stuff should have been, in my opinion, already in the mill, in the process, having been ordered some time ago for timely delivery. I don't see that happening, at least on Park and 11th Street. That seems kind of strange. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there a Park Waterloo website? Yeah, please.
Bridget Wood, City Finance Director. There will be a parking website. We're in the middle of getting all the GIS coordinates and that of the kiosks as well as parking spots inputted with Ben in IT. So he's working with us and our parking operator to get that put together. We do have just some rough drafts of maps if people wanted to do that. Once we have the official website completed with all the mapping information, we'll be providing printed out ones to the downtown businesses in case any of their customers would like one to pick up from there.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dillavo.
Forrest Dillavo, 1725 Huntington Road. I would like to speak today about what I consider waste. A few months ago, MetroNet came through my neighborhood They dug the holes, they run their big orange pipe like the one I got in my hand, Mayor, and they ran one cable through this. That's what they ran through. They had engineers come out and mark all the utilities and everything in. And now, Waterloo Net is out there, and they're doing exactly the same thing. They call all the same people out to mark all the same water lines, all the same electric lines and gas lines, and we're going to put another one of these through. Each one of those is capable of holding a multitude of those little bitty fibers. But we're not doing that. We're spending dollars throwing away plastic that there's no reason for. There's no reason we can't make an agreement. Whoever's there first, you call on them and say, let's make an agreement. We'll use a mile of your pipe, use a mile of our pipe. A fair trade. We don't have to be so ignorant as to waste all of this material and all of the time, you know, and the people digging the holes. Today, I came down Huntington. When MetroNet did it, they dropped off a hole digger about every 100 to 150 feet. Waterloo Fiber has 3 men to a hole. I counted them. I went up to Central and I drove down. Every hole has at least 3 men, 1 to dig and 2 to watch. I know it's hard work, but MetroNet did it with freezing ground, but Waterloo Fiber, it takes 3. If I was doing it, it'd probably take 5 because I can't dig very long or very far. We don't need to waste natural materials, we don't need to waste labor, and we don't need to waste taxpayer dollars because one way or another, taxpayers are going to pay it. In fees to hook up to fiber from one company or the other, this is still included in the expense. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, is there anyone else that would like to speak about non-agenda related items? Going a second time. All right, that's public comments are closed. Council.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
Three items. On the 11th Street Bridge, and we've had this conversation when we had to extend the architect, or not the architect, but the engineer's job, $150,000 to finish out the 11th Street Bridge project. And Mr. Knutson got up and mentioned that in the contract it's $3,000 a day. But then now it's up to the DOT. And my concern is I just want to make sure that we recoup our $150,000 that we paid extra because they went past December 31st. At a bare minimum, we need to recoup that much money. Whether it's $3,000 a day or whatever, as long as we get our $150,000. The second item is and I really appreciate Mr. Knutson getting back to me right away on this item, is on the bike trail on Shawless, they tore up the entrances on the bike trail at the casino on both sides and the water park on both sides. And DC Construction came in and tore it all out, put their barricades up, and somebody came back out because the barricades had fallen over the last 2 or 3 weeks since they tore it up, but they've not been back. And when I contacted Mr. Knutson, he mentioned that they were now doing the reconstruction of Mullen Avenue, and it might be weeks before they get back. And I honestly believe when they tear it up, we shouldn't have to wait 5 or 6 weeks for that bike trail to be opened back up again, because now they've got a bigger job, and that concerns me. And the last is about the parking, and I've had numerous conversations with people on the parking, and I'm extremely disappointed myself in the kiosk locations. And I understand the complexities of when you have to walk a block and then cross 2 streets and then cross two intersections back and walk another block. There's only 5 kiosks on the west side. There's 13 on the east. And I don't know what the rationale was on the locations, but if you go to Des Moines and you go to other cities that use the kiosks, and I understand it takes more kiosks because there's one in the center of the block on both sides of the street. So you never have to walk more than a half a block if you're at the end of a block to get to a kiosk. And now we've got people that are going to have to walk over an entire city block and cross 2 intersections and then walk back. And that would be the 300 block of West 4th Street, the 500 block of Jefferson. And that's just 2 examples of where those kiosks are in difficult locations. So I don't know how to fix it, but I hope we can come up with an idea and get it fixed.
Yeah, I've been talking to Randy all weekend since I talked to Mr. Carpenter, trying to figure out, you know, what changes need to be made. And I think the conversation about let's wait and see how it goes since this is new, that doesn't fit in this situation. So we're working on it, try to figure out some fixes for that as well. So I thank everybody for their comments that they've been received.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, I wanted to share that we will have our joint Ward 3 and Ward 4 Town Hall meeting on March 15th, Thursday, March 15th at 6 p.m., and it will be held at the Jubilee Freedom Center. So I'm asking everyone from Ward 3, 4, and across the community to come to our initial meeting, and we will plan from there as far as where our permanent or location will be, as well as to get things on the agenda for the year and work towards progress and advancement. So
May 15th, you said
May
March.
15th. Oh, did I say March? May 15th.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going back. No, I can't go back. May 15th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Let's go,
I've got
Mr.
two.
Simon.
Yes, sir. I have two quick items. I apologize if the audio is not very good. Hopefully you can hear me. I've had a request from a couple people on the 4th Street cruise. They have a staging area underneath the bridge before the parade begins. I've had a request to see if we can get some of the city vehicles that are located there sometimes, maybe relocated for that event. And then also they've made a request for some trash receptacles. So I wanted to pass that on to those who may be able to hear it. Second of all, the right-hand turn off of the San Martin frontage road onto Kimball. That's right there in front of, I believe it's Golden China and Tropical Smoothie Cafe. That is a nightmare during traffic areas before and after work. Heated temperatures starting to be, I've seen them. You're supposed to take only a right-hand turn, and there's people trying to make left-hand turns. And the traffic is backed up extremely bad on both ways, and people are, you know, pulling out in front of people. So I don't know if there's been many accidents yet, but there's an accident waiting to happen. I don't know if there's something we could do about that. So that's two things I have.
Councilman, on your second one, Sheila and Jamie are here to kind of take that into consideration, have some conversation about that location. On the first one, I think trash receptacles, you can put some more out for the cruise as well, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll get that taken care of. And then city vehicles, Sheila, I don't know we'll get that taken care of. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Childs.
Thank you. Thank you for the comments earlier about the unfortunate event that happened in my ward. That was one of my questions today, so thank you for answering that. Thank you for those that came to the Ward 1 and Ward 2 ward meeting. Again, or office hours, please feel free to come. Final Saturday of the month at noon at Ridgeway Sidecar. Please feel free to join if you have any questions or just want to chat about the city, if you want to come support a local business. One thing I did want to mention is on March 16th and March 17th, the Audubon Park Neighborhood Association will be holding their annual yard sale. So May, wow, oh, good Lord.
I know.
May.
We're tired.
We're tired. It's the end of the semester, sorry. May 16th and May 17th, we will be having, the Audubon Park Neighborhood Association will be holding their annual yard sale, so please feel free to show up and check out what's going on in that neighborhood association. Lastly, it's gone. I erased it, so never mind. I think that's it for today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to close public comments.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The public comments is closed.
Mr. Mayor?
Sir?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition of 1A1 bills payment for Monday, April 28, 2025. That amount is $2,575,240.83. And for May 5th, 2025, $5,165,492.61.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Nothing today.
All right. Could someone take number 1, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I move to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing for passenger boarding bridge project number number FAA AIP 3-19-0094-057-2025.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. Madam Clerk, any comments on file?
None.
Is there anyone that would like to speak to passenger boarding bridge project at the airport? Going a second time.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I move to close the hearing.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is closed.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I move to adopt a resolution confirming approval, specifications, and bid documents, form of contract, et cetera, authorizing to proceed.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council questions? Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I move to receive, file, and instruct the city clerk to read bids and refer to the aviation director for further review.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Madam Clerk?
Okay, we received 2 bids for this project. The first was from Gem Tech Services. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $1,917,228, and our second and final bidder was Builders Chicago. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $2,189,107.25.
All right, thank you. Could someone take number 2?
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I can make a motion to see, file, proof, publication, notice of public hearing for the FY 2025 South Hills Golf Course Maintenance Building Contract Number 1130.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. Is there anyone that would like to comment on a maintenance building? Going a second time.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I can make a motion to close the hearing and receive and file any oral and written comments.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is closed.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I'd like to adopt a resolution confirming approval of specifications, bid documents, form of contract, et cetera, and authorizing to proceed.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right,
Mayor.
thank you, sir.
I can make a motion to receive, file, and instruct the city clerk to read bids.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Madam Clerk?
All right, our engineer's estimate for this project was $205,000. Our first bidder was Robinson Construction Incorporated of Waterloo, Iowa. They provided 5% security. The bid amount was $241,041. Alternate A, no bid, or excuse me, 0. And alternate B, 0. Second bidder was Cardinal Construction of Waterloo, Iowa. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $374,000. Alternate A, $13,500. Alternate B, $600. Our third bidder was Don Gardner Construction of Waterloo, Iowa. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $292,860. Alternate A, $16,963. Alternate B was $2,325. Our next bidder was Mott Construction Incorporated of Sumner, Iowa. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $224,800. Alternate A, $5,600, and alternate B, $558. And our final bidder was NB Coke General Contractors Incorporated. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $305,000. Alternate A was $13,000, and alternate B was $2,000.
All right, thank you. What was the bid estimate? Is it in there?
205.
205.
Is that close?
Yep, 205.
All right, thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor.
Sir?
I'd like to adopt a resolution awarding a bid to Matt Construction of Sumner, Iowa, in the amount of $230,958 in conjunction with the construction of the FY 2025 South Hills Golf Course Maintenance Building Contract Number 1130.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Could someone take number 3?
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing, and that's for the acquisition of property right-of-way, permanent easements, and temporary easements for the Leaport Road Reconstruction Phase 2 project, generally located on Leaport Road, just south of Plymouth Avenue to Hawthorne Avenue.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. Is there anyone that would like to comment on this item?
Mr. Mayor and Council, Bob Crow, 1559 Dakota Drive. I guess I have a question about the process. I own a commercial building on Leaport Road and will be impacted by the reconstruction, which I've actually been totally in support of, been watching it for 3 years, hoping we could get it done. But my question is this a setting where it will approve the design or a approval to move forward with finalizing design? My issue is that the property and the way the design is now with my property, I am landlocked with deliveries to my 2 commercial businesses. They will not get product. And obviously we can't have that. That will not work. So again, my question is, if this is approved, are we moving and endorsing the reconstruction project, which I am 110% all for? But if we're approving the design as I saw it at the session last week at Majestic Moon, then I have to object, because I can't have my property not have access and be, no access for delivery.
Mr. Knudsen?
Jamie Knudsen, city engineer. We had a public meeting on the 24th with the business owners there. We have discussed, I had a call with AECOM this morning about this particular property. He does have driveway access, and we are looking at adjusting that as best we can. But he will continue, even with the revised plans or with the plans for Leaport Road, he will have driveway access onto Leaport Road. So he will be getting his access back. It just may not be in the exact same spot that he had before, but he will have access to his property. We're not taking that away.
Mr. Crowe, is that what you believe, or you didn't hear that, or just
No, I
out?
saw it, and I was actually, I talked to Eric last week, and so the situation is, there's a roundabout. The roundabout actually has to take some of my parking to get the roundabout, and my access for the driveway is on the north side of the property. This moves it to the middle of the property where the parking is. And so it's about 25 feet coming off the roundabout into my property. And semis come in there, and semis are 70 to 80 feet long. They have 25 feet. To do a right turn, it takes 55 feet to turn a semi. It ain't gonna happen. And so the way it was before, they could come in to the access, the driveway on the north side of the property, and the way it's laid out, it's wide open to go up by the building or to go across and come on the other side. So again, I'm 110% all in favor of the project. It's a beautification project. This is coming into Waterloo. It should look awesome, right? Mm-hmm. So my issue is I'm landlocked if we do the design the way it is right now.
So Jamie, with that 25 feet this way or that way, can you tell me?
Again, I talked with AECOM this morning. They are looking at, his driveway we are looking at rotating and moving his driveway a little bit to the north, but again, he will still have access onto Leaport Road at about the same exact location, just a little bit different. Mm-hmm. We are looking at adjusting so that we will not, to see if we can minimize even more the impact that he has seen to his property currently. But again, that was just discussions that went on this morning, so we're still reviewing that.
So Michelle, is there any way you have the gentleman's phone number to have some conversation and to take a look at making sure that the semis can get in there and be able to move about? So sir, are you able to give your information to Michelle again with AECOM?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so we
Yes.
can make sure
And,
you
and
get
I
your
should tell you in
needs
all
met.
fairness, so Noel and I are gonna talk on Thursday. So, I mean, the staff's been very helpful. The problem is the design. I mean, if we're hard set with that design, this will not work. I mean,
Let's have you get with the AECOM folks. We like Noel.
yeah, great.
But have you get with these folks and let's see if we can find some level of remedy to be able to help ease you through this transition. And you're right. Whoever created an access road next to a frontage road that's parallel to highway that has big parkings, I still don't understand it either. And fortunately, none of them were here to do that. Maybe Noel. but please give your information to Michelle and her team right back here.
Perfect.
And let's try to work through it.
Great. Again, my concern was we're not approving a design tonight, correct?
What we are approving tonight is council to move forward with the actions necessary to condemn properties in order for us to continue moving with this project. So that's what you are here tonight for, what the hearing is for tonight.
Which is condemning properties per the current design.
Which is condemning properties if we cannot come to an agreement between the property owners and the city.
With the current design.
Again, correct. But again, as I stated earlier, we've talked this morning about this to adjust the design. AECOM has not had a chance to adjust it yet and go through the design process. We are still looking at that.
Michelle,
Okay.
You guys will make sure that this gentleman can still conduct business and move forward, right? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you. Did you want some comments or you're good? All right. All right. Is there anyone else that wants to comment on this item? Going a second time?
Yep, that's me. Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral comments.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the hearing is closed.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I'd like to adopt a resolution authorizing to proceed with the Leaport Road Reconstruction Phase 2 project to make final selection of the location and authorize funding for public improvement project to determine that there is a reasonable expectation the city will be able to achieve its public purpose, comply with all applicable standards, and obtain the necessary permits, and authorizing the use of condemnation procedures for acquisition of property interest in furtherance of the project objectives, and to establish the amount of just compensation.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Let's start over here first, and we'll come to you, Mr. Boza.
I just want clear confirmation that this is still malleable, that this is not does not have to be final and it can still be changed.
Mr. Knudsen? You mean, can they continue to work with this gentleman?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jamie Knudsen, city engineer, could you explain a little more what you mean by that, Mr. Childs?
He wants to know if, can AECOM work with this gentleman?
Yes,
to-
yes,
That's what
we're
folks
still,
wanna know.
we're still in the process. It's just state code requires certain things in order to go through condemnation, and we're making sure that we have all of these things in place if it ever becomes necessary to do that. We don't want to go to condemnation. We want to work with the property owners to adjust things and come to a reasonable agreement for not just how we're going to affect their property, but also the cost for these easements and things. So yes, it's still a work in progress.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle, you stood up. You want to say something, so just don't fight it.
Michelle Sweeney, AECOM. We're the design company doing the project, and one of the important things to note is that just because we have a project plan that we're proceeding forward with acquisition does not mean that we cannot make adjustments. And so we will work with the property owner, kind of like Jamie had already hit on. The primary reason we're coming to at this point is in order to meet the deadline and the schedules, we have to allow the city staff time to acquire the right-of-way. And part of that process takes 6 months. So in full honesty, in order to get this project let and keep it on schedule for the raise grant funding, we do have to meet deadlines. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to get ahead of and make sure that we're able to do that. So we can modify and change the design as needed to accommodate. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't, but per Jamie's comment, we're gonna do our best.
All right, thank you. You good? Mr. Bozen?
Well, Mr. Knudsen expressed what I was gonna say here earlier, is because I hate the word condemnation. It's such an ugly word. And I just want the people to know that the city's gonna do and put their best foot forward and to make it right. And if you read the letter that the associated documents, that is fair market value. I mean, we want to do everything in our power to be on the right side of this and not have to go to condemnation.
Thank you. Council? It's a nice green shirt.
It's my Irish Fest shirt.
All right, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton-Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, and thank you, Mr. Crow. All right, and Michelle. Number 4, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Childs.
I move to receive and file proof of publication notice of public hearing as requested by Peters Construction on behalf of Waterloo Development Corporation for a site plan amendment to allow for community recreational center hard courts in the M-2P Planned Industrial District located adjacent to 360 Westville Avenue along West Commercial Street.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The hearing is now open. Is there anyone that would like to speak to a request by WDC? Yes, sir.
David Dryer, 3145 West 4th Street. How much do we already have in this project? And no shares, number one. My understanding, this is a WDC project, funded project. How much is the street changes that I see in the council packet going to cost the citizens of Waterloo? And will this take away from the other street repairs that are needed to be done in the city? Because now the street funds are directed toward changing a street that probably doesn't need to be changed right now as far as quality of the street. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dryer. Noel or Jamie, you want to talk about investment in this project, and then also the local option sales tax for roads, how this would impact that if when this is a success?
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. So this is the site plan amendment zoning action. The development agreement, however, in the past, we did do about $3 million worth of work on the site work for underground tunnels, for some environmental piping and things of that nature. That would have had to have been done for development of the site overall, regardless of the project. The City of Waterloo then did enter into an agreement with the WDC to fund $4 million worth of funding toward the project. In exchange for that, the WDC is providing about $3.1 million in acquisitions and other actions. So it's about $900,000 for the project over the site work and the property swap. And then there is no public street work with the project.
Is there anyone else that would like to comment on this request? Second time.
Mr. Mayor.
Childs. Yes, sir.
I move to close the public hearing, receive and file oral comments and recommendation of the approval of the Planning, Programming, Zoning Commission.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir?
I move to receive, file, and consider and pass for the first time an ordinance amendment to the ordinance number 5079 as amended, City of Waterloo zoning ordinance by amending the official zoning map referred to in section 10-4-4, approving a site plan amendment request by Peters Construction on behalf of Waterloo Development Corporation to allow for a community recreational center hard courts in the M-2P Planned Industrial District located adjacent to 360 Westwood Avenue along West Commercial Street.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton-Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, sir?
I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Mr.
All
Mayor,
right. Yes, sir.
I move to consider and pass for the second and third times and adopt ordinance.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Number 5, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I can make a motion to see file publication notice of public hearing for a request from Alicia Ludden to rezone approximately 7.33 acres from A1 Agricultural District to R2 RP Planned Residential District located at 2775 Logan Avenue.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this rezone request? Going a second time.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments on the recommendation of approval of the Planning, Programming, and Zoning Commission.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
make a motion to receive, file, and consider pass for the first time an ordinance amending ordinance number 5079 as amended City of Waterloo zoning ordinance by amending the official zoning map referred to section 10-4-4, approving the request from Alicia Ludden to rezone approximately 7.33 acres from A1 Agricultural District to R2 RP Planned Residential District located at 2775 Logan Avenue.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Counsel? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I'd like to make a motion to consider and pass for the second and third time and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
The motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Could someone take number 6?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I'd
sir.
like to make a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing for a request by Olson Engineers on behalf of Viridian Credit Union for a site plan amendment for the construction of a new 2,899 square foot banking facility in the CP Planned Commercial District located at 2300 Logan Avenue.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this building here this evening? Going a second time.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing
Second.
and receive and file the recommendation of approval of the Planning, Programming, and Zoning Commission.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, consider, and pass for the first time an ordinance amendment to ordinance number 5079 as amended City of Waterloo zoning ordinance by amending the official zoning map referred to in section 10-4-4, approving a site plan amendment request by Olson Engineers on behalf of Viridian Credit Union for the construction of a new 2,899 square foot banking facility in the CP Planned Commercial District located at 2300 Logan Avenue.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Counsel?
Mr. Mayor,
Ma'am?
with Hy-Vee leaving, that definitely left a sore spot on Logan Avenue. So I'm glad that Viridian has decided to come back into the community, and I hope that something more will follow after them, like a grocery store, come back into that.
And them being there is intentional.
I can believe it.
They specifically stated they wanted to be in the area and looking forward to it. And with the, hopefully soon we'll have the ribbon cutting for the daycare facility. That's something we're looking forward to. And we rezoned some lots a little while ago. So hopefully continued progress. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I just
Yes,
want
ma'am.
to echo Councilor Wilder's sentiments as well. They're definitely hopeful and happy that they decided to build in this area.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes,
All
Mr.
right.
Mayor.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
That motion's been made with the second, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes,
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir?
Motion to consider and pass for the second and third times and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, number 7, we're getting closer, sir, to the sidewalk, so.
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, proof publication, notice of public hearing, a request by Ferg Graham on behalf of Northland Oil site plan amendment to allow for construction of a parking lot in the R2CZ conditional zoning district located across from 1000 Rainbow Drive.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. If there is anyone that'd like to comment on the parking lot.
David Dryer, 3145 West 4th Street. First, I guess I have to say I have no skin in this game, but in the council packet, it was indicated that this would put an adverse situation in the area. So I guess I don't understand why a parking lot would be any more adverse than a grass lot. They're parking on some gravel already. Just, I saw that in the packet and I thought, why is there any opposition to this at all? Should pass right on through. Thank you.
No, you want to speak about adversity?
Where does he begin?
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. So there was some neighbors at the P&Z meeting that had some concerns with the commercial aspects of Northland creeping, I believe was their word, to the south side of Rainbow. A number of years back, Northland actually had approval to put a new professional office building on this site. They had acquired and demolished the former house that had been there. They're just moving ahead with the parking lot right now, not the full office site. So it's a very small change to what was previously approved. The Planning Commission did recommend putting a fence to the south borderline of the new parcel, and then tree plantings to the west side, so where it's abutting the residential will be less impactful with the new parking lot.
So you made some adjustments. All right. Is there anyone else? Mr. Bozen?
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing and receive and file oral and written comments and the recommendation of approval of the Planning, Programming, and Zoning Commission.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir?
I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, and consider and pass for the first time an ordinance amendment to the ordinance number 5079 as amended, City of Waterloo zoning ordinance by amending the official zoning map referred to in section 10-4-4, approving a site plan amendment request by Ferg Graham on behalf of Northland Oil to allow for construction of a parking lot in the R2CZ conditional zoning district located across from 1000 Rainbow Drive.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon? Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right,
Mayor?
thank you, sir.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mayor?
Sir?
Make a motion to consider and pass for the second and third time and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon? Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes. All right, can I have somebody take number 8, please?
Mr.
Go ahead.
Mr. Nichols?
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing, and that's for the Street Department Asphalt Emulsion Seal Coat Program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there anybody that would like to comment on this asphalt emulsion? Going a second time?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to adopt a resolution confirming approval of specifications, bid documents, form of contract, et cetera, and authorizing to proceed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon? Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, and instruct the city clerk to read bids.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Madam Clerk?
Okay, we had 2 bids. The first one was from Bituminous Materials and Supply LP of Des Moines, Iowa. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $216,300. Their alternate bid was $60,800. Second and final bidder was Flint Hill Resources of Dubuque, Iowa. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $213,500. Their alternate was $96,900.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to adopt a resolution approving award of bid to Bituminous and Materials of Des Moines, Iowa, in the amount not to exceed $277,100, approving the contract bonds and certificate of insurance in conjunction with the Street Department Asphalt Emulsion Seal Coat Program, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said documents.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Council, any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I move to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing for fiscal year 2026 sidewalk inspection and repair program, Zone 5A.
Second.
All right, that motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. Sir?
Hello, thank you again. My name is Anthony Fullerlove. I live at 858 Olympic Drive. I received this in the mail saying that it's going to cost $5,720 to fix my sidewalk, and that's 2 pieces of concrete. Concrete or Quikrete is $6.49, and I can get a military discount on that from Home Depot. So where are we coming up with this kind of money? Number 2, I don't have that kind of money, and I just think it's kind of pricey. So I can't pay that, and I don't know when it's expected. I see there was also, it stated in here that there were marks on the sidewalks. I have no marks on my sidewalk showing me where the concrete was to be removed or taken away. Also, it said it was 2 panels of 4 foot by 6 foot. That's, again, awful pricey. Plus, remove of trees. I don't have any trees on my property. My neighbor has trees on his property. I don't know where this comes from, but I can't do this. So,
Yeah, no, thank you. Those must be 10 by 12 squares, huh?
yeah, either that or it's part of my driveway.
Right. So what we do, we have Umi here as well, who can kind of go through what that assessment actually mean and what it actually does. For instance, does that mean that there needs to be cleanup in along the sidewalk? Is your neighbor's trees that need to be trimming? Is it the squares and how that can be done? But that's why we make sure, because it's a pretty eye-opening experience once you receive that first assessment. So that's why we have her here. And normally, in most instances, it won't end up being there. But that's why we have her here to kind of go through the whole process with you, sir.
Is it a public sidewalk? Or is it my sidewalk?
It's. I understand your question. It's your responsibility.
It's my responsibility to maintain a public.
But first, let's see what it actually ends up being.
All right.
Because that's probably more than likely going to change once you understand the entire assessment. Some of it can be just cleanup, or like you indicated, your neighbor is the one with the challenge. So. Yeah, let her work through it with you, kind of explain what's happening, and it will clear up anything for it. And so we won't have her leave out yet in case there's someone else with some questions. But if you want to have a seat next to her, we'll make sure we take care of you, sir.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. All right. Is there anyone else who wants to comment on their sidewalk going a second time?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I move to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is closed. Wait, just one till we finish the entire item, then we'll take care of you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution authorizing proposed repairs to the sidewalk.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Oh, council? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we adopt a resolution adopting proposed resolution of necessity as proposed or amended.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. At this time, you can meet with Umi. I'll follow up with her tomorrow regarding your concerns, so thank you. Yep. All right, number 10.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir.
I move to receive, file, proof of publication of notice of public hearing for Park Avenue Bridge Marker Contract Number 1121.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. Is there anyone that wants to comment about a bridge marker? Yes, sir.
David Jar, 3145 West 4th Street. I've seen a lot of different markers around the state, some of them even brass, but they haven't cost as much as $141,000. I can't see that we need to spend that kind of money. Is this going to be a huge plaque that identifies this a historic bridge, or what's the proposal on it for how huge it's going to be, or does it need to be seen by everybody that goes across that bridge, car or bicycle?
Or plane. That'd be that much, huh?
Well, maybe a banner behind an airplane or something.
Yes.
But it just seems like $141,000 is a lot of money. You can buy a lot of brass for that and make a decent-looking plaque. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dryer. Jamie, why don't we take this question now? Oh, Mr. Dilleville, you have a question? Jamie, let Mr. Dilleville finish, and then we'll take Mr. Dryer's question.
Forrest Dilleville, 1725 Huntington Road. I was at a meeting where this was discussed, what it was going to be. I definitely agree with Mr. Dryer. We could have a very nice plaque, a statue or something else. Instead, we're going to have a fancy piece of the bridge with light possibilities on it. It's going to be wired, it's going to be whatever. We don't need this kind of a shrine to a bridge. We need policemen and firemen. We don't need shrines to a bridge. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Jamie, could you speak to the enshrinement of Park Avenue and how it impacts police and fire?
Jamie Knudsen, city engineer. As part of the federal grant that we received, the $12.5 million to replace the bridges, part of the federal rules and requirements are that we have to do a memorial. I don't know if you want to call it a memorial, but we have to have something to memorialize the bridge there. And if council remembers, we had a work session several weeks ago showing what we were going to do. We've got a big section of not a big, but a 20-foot section of the bridge that we're going to bring over, put over by US Bank there, along with some pretty colored concrete plantings and wiring it for future lighting to provide, along with a couple of Prairie Pathways signs on both sides of the bridge to provide a memorial for this. So this is what we were chosen to do. We worked with the local historic society to make sure that they were happy with it, to come up with something that was going to preserve what the Park Avenue Bridge looked like.
Yeah, not one of those beams that were hanging down underneath.
Not
the
one of the
bottom
beams.
of
This
it.
is one of the big ones.
The
Yes.
bridge was in tough position, and in relation to funding for police and fire in this bridge.
I believe this is being paid for out of either bond funds or road use tax funds as part of the entire bridge project.
All right, thank you. All right, is there anyone else? Yeah, somebody wants to close. Mr. Childs?
Yes. Move to close the hearing, receive and file all written comments.
Second.
That motion be made with second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing closed.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
I move to adopt a resolution confirming approval, plan specifications for contract, et cetera, and authorizing to proceed.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council?
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Simon?
going back to, I think that during the work session, we had talked about this had to be, like Mr. Knudsen had just said, there was a certain amount of this in order to qualify for the federal funding. And my question at the time was, does it have to be so extravagant at the point of the bridge, or could we have incorporated something into like the Grout Museum or something like that, so we could have utilized that funds a little bit better? I don't know where we ever ended with that, or if this was the only option that we had, I guess is what I want clarification on.
All right. Mr. Knudsen.
Jamie Knudsen, city engineer. No, we are required per the federal regs to have something close by the bridge. So having something inside the grout would not meet the requirements for the grant funding.
Even if the marker was smaller with maybe indications of there's more history to be found at this other location, I mean, that would not have qualified?
No, I don't know that it would.
But we don't know. Okay.
Well, I think maybe it's preference. If, folks don't like what was paid for, I mean, definitely don't support it. But this is what was decided. There's a lot of different ways to go, but I can understand the angst and the cost, and then also getting it completed. Mr. Bozen.
Yeah. My comments were on that same line. I think $141,000 is a ridiculous amount of money to mount a bridge beam. I talked about it at the work session that I hope they put some graffiti resistant paint on it, because I think it's just going to be an open canvas for people to vandalize it, and I hope it doesn't happen. I understand we're at a bind that we have to have some sort of a historical marker. I still think it's too much money. I wish there was another way to go around this, and I wish we could have come up with a different design than mounting a giant piece of the under beams that are that were supporting the bridge, the old Park Avenue Bridge. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton-Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to receive and file and instruct city clerk to read bids.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Madam Clerk?
The engineer's estimate for this was $191,018. Our first bidder was Boulder Contracting LLC of Grundy Center. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $259,500. Our second bidder was Peterson Contracting Incorporated of Rhinebeck, Iowa. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $353,725. And then our third and final bidder was NB Koch General Contractors Incorporated of Cedar Falls, Iowa. They provided 5% security. Their bid amount was $141,000.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adopt a resolution approving the award of bid to NB Coat Construction of Cedar Falls, Iowa in the amount of $141,000, approving the contract bond and certificate of insurance in conjunction with the Park Avenue Bridge Marker Contract number 1121, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton-Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Foyce, can you take 1 through 5?
Yep. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution of the City of Waterloo authorizing official banking signatures. Resolution approving and authorizing amendment to loan and disbursement agreement by and between the City of Waterloo and the Iowa Finance Authority, and authorizing and providing for the reissuance of $8,105,000 original amount sewer revenue capital loan notes, Series 2022A, rate reduction for sponsored project. Resolution approving and authorizing amendments to loan and disbursement agreement by and between the City of Waterloo and the Iowa Finance Authority, and authorizing and providing for the reissuance of the $7,948,000 original amount sewer revenue capital loan note, Series 2024A, rate reduction for sponsored project. Resolution approving and authorizing a form of loan and disbursement agreement by and between the City of Waterloo and the Iowa Finance Authority, and authorizing and providing for the issuance and securing the payment of $517,000 sewer revenue capital loan notes, Series 2025F, for the City of Waterloo, Iowa, under the provisions of the Code of Iowa, and providing for a method of payment of said notes. Resolution approving and authorizing a form of loan and disbursement agreement by and between the City of Waterloo, Iowa, and the Iowa Finance Authority, and authorizing and providing for the issuance and securing the payment of $530,000 sewer revenue capital loan notes, Series 2025E of the City of Waterloo, under the provisions of the Code of Iowa, and providing for a method of payment of said notes.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Is there anyone that with questions or comments on 1 through 5? Council? Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs? Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Could someone take 6 through 9?
Mr. Mayor?
Sir?
I'd like to adopt following resolutions. First is resolution appointing paying agent, bond registrar, and transfer agent, approving the paying agent and bond registrar and transfer agent agreement, and authorizing the execution of the agreement. Next is a resolution authorizing and providing for the issuance and levying a tax to pay the bonds, approval of the tax exemption certificate and continuing disclosure certificate. Next is a resolution appointing pay agent, bond registrar, and transfer agent, approving the pay agent and bond registrar and transfer agent agreement, and authorizing the execution of the agreement. And then 9, a resolution authorizing and providing for the issuance, levying a tax to pay the bonds, approval, and continuing disclosure certificate.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Do we have anyone with questions on 6 through 9? Council? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Could someone take 10 through 12, please?
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I move to adopt the following resolutions. A resolution approving a renewal agreement with the National Insurance Services for fees associated with life and long-term disability policies, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document. A resolution approving a professional services contract with Employee and Family Resources of Des Moines, Iowa, in the amount of $12,720 to continue to provide an employee assistance program, and authorizing the mayor to execute that document. And a resolution approving a professional services agreement with Strand Associates of Madison, Wisconsin, in the amount of $600,000 in conjunction with the design services of anaerobic lagoon modifications, and authorizing the mayor to execute said document.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council, any questions or anyone? Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Could someone take 13, 14, 15, and 16?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
move that we adopt Resolution 13, approving an amendment to a development and minimum assessment agreement with Hydrite Chemical Company located at 2815 WCF and N Drive, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document. Number 14, resolution approving amendment number 1 with ACOM Technical Services, Inc. of Waterloo, Iowa, with no charge to the total agreement amount in conjunction with the airline terminal parking canopy structures construction-related services agreement dated December 18, 2023, and authorizing the mayor to execute said document. Resolution 15, approving agreement with ACCO Unlimited Corp. To supply certified chemicals, liquid chlorinated solution, and muriatic acid and equipment associated with the treatment of water at Burns Aquatic Center, Gates Park Splash Pad, and Sportsplex Pool. And I think that was it, right?
16.
16, resolution approving a farm lease agreement expiring December 31st, 2025 with John R. Roof to farm 14 acres of land for $4,200 located west of 4634 Kimball Avenue, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Is there anyone? Yes, sir.
Anyone? Yes, sir. David Dreyer, 3145 West 4th Street. 14 and 15. 14, is this FAA money? Or is this because we own the airport, our money?
Mr. Carrier, we won't deprive you of the opportunity to,
Yes. Stephen Kiro, Director of Aviation. This is CARES Act money and state money. So it's
Okay.
our money.
and will this be done before the big day, all this? And what
supposed
is
to
the
be-
big day coming up?
June 5th is the new flights with the larger aircraft, and it's supposed to be done by then.
All right. And then,
Number
Mr.
15. I have worked with muriatic acid before, and that's pretty strong stuff. Why is that used at a swimming pool?
You know, I have someone here that can't wait to tell you. I can tell he was up
I
and
guess
ready to
what's
go.
it used for at a swimming pool?
Oh, it's all good. He is here.
Todd Deerfield, Interim Leisure Services Director, and I am not a scientist, so I can't tell you directly what that is used for, but I believe it's to knock down the alkaline that builds up in the piping
So it's definitely flushed afterwards.
and affects the pH.
Okay, but it's definitely flushed afterwards because that is not a good thing to have on your body. I know that. I've had it on me.
Yeah, it's used in all of our pools over the years. Thank you.
You need to practice up on pHs.
You won't know what the 7.14, by the way.
You know it's something when the chief of police has to tell you about your pH balance. He has a aquatic center at his. All right, council, Madam Clerk, 13 through 16 to vote.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I know we had some questions. We'll take 17 by itself.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir,
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution to approve a request by Panther Builders for the preliminary plat of Baltimore Field Second Edition, an 18-lot residential subdivision in the R1 RP Planned Residence District located at Baltimore Field between Hawthorne Avenue and Eureka Street.
Second.
a motion has been made with the second. Is there anyone in the audience with questions or comments on this item, or council? I know we had some questions last time.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I was going to address the questions on when we got to 19, but my concern with this entire project is that the original development agreement was dated in 2021. And the original development agreement called for the road and the infrastructure to be in and 2 houses at the end of the year. I understand they didn't get their workforce tax credits that year, so we didn't get a road or 2 houses. The second year, they got their workforce tax credits, but we didn't get a road or the houses. And now we're into the 3rd year, and we've extended it twice now, or we're gonna be extending this. And I'm just not in favor of moving forward with this. I think we could have a better use of this land. I personally think that we should be working with Mr. Jones and Community Development and taking some of that ARPA money that we've got, the $2,041,000, and put the road in and deed those lots to Habitat and Hawkeye and create some low to moderate income housing that fits the needs of the people in that area.
All right. Noel, you got any comments or?
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. So obviously the workforce housing tax credits on the state level are highly competitive. We are a thriving community this year, so hopefully we'll get some continued projects that'll apply this year because we'll get some extra points, but they're definitely a crucial piece of the financing for a lot of developers. Obviously Panther Builders just built out the Edison School site. It was a great partnership with the city of Waterloo, and we're hoping to continue that with this site.
Kevin Fitro, Cedar Falls, Panther Builders. I respect everything that's been said about the timing, but as you said, we didn't get the workforce the first year. You can't start a project and then apply for it afterwards. You're not allowed to bring any of those units into once they've been started. We did get it last year. You have 3 years to complete that project. We're ready to go this year. We'll have financing. We'll be ready to roll. We're looking to start as soon as we can in May we have 3 years to complete that project, and we were in the middle of Edison addition. 32 wonderful units, great tax base for the city, and we're excited to do that again.
So based upon this, you said you'll be ready to start when?
We're looking to have crews in there in May, June. Okay. Have to be started by June.
Okay.
So we'll put the streets in, and we'd have houses started right away. Okay.
All right. Council? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
No.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
No.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
And Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Could someone take, I guess we'll take 18 by itself, and then 19 we'll take by itself.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving an amendment to the development agreement with PWM One Warehouse to amend the percentage of property tax rebates for years 12 through 17 in the rebate schedule for a building located at 3460 Marnie Avenue, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Yes, sir.
David Dryer, 3145 West 4th Street. First off, who is PWM1? And second off, why are we changing the original contract to afford them more rebate? We give enough money away in this town already, and we're bankrupting the town, I feel. And you keep giving more money away all the time? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't care how much tax money they're gonna bring into the debt service or to the TIF district. We see nothing in the coffers to relieve us from having to pay these high taxes. And at that same time, the TIF seems to be making good money. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Anderson, PWT, what? Pretty young, PYT.
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. Mr. Brandon Pratt is here on behalf of PWM one tonight, so he can speak as well. So they did build the building out there. We had the current rebate level at years 1 through 11, at a certain percentage year 12, and then years 13 through 17 at differing levels of 85, 55, and then 50. They are requesting that we amend the agreement to go years 1 through 11 to stay the same, but years 12 through 17 to go up to the I think it was 75%. I forgot that one in front of me. 85, sorry, percent there. Looking at this, they're basically talking about they went with a higher design standard than a lot of the buildings in town with the metal design. Theirs is tip-up concrete. When they made the request, we started to look at the assessed value of the building and the number of acres that they are on and the assessed amount of funds we have per acre. Their building is bringing about $876,261 per acre. Other buildings over 50,000 square feet and under 200,000 square feet, and theirs is more in the range of about the highest being at 625, the lowest being at 286. So they are at about 1.5 times the assessed value. Also being an 82,500 square foot building on 6 acres, that's usually 1 acre per 10,000. So there's about 2 acres still out there that they built with a different design, a higher level of design that probably saved us more land for another project. Over the course of a 20-year time period, the rebated taxes under the current agreement would be at $1.638 million. If we do the amendment, it would be at $1.887 million. They are paying taxes paid net of the rebates into the debt service and into the TIF. It's amazing to say you want more money into the general fund and all that, but you're not counting the debt service as a part of that equation. So these projects are helping to keep taxes down, even in the TIF districts. And of course, we always have the ability to look at the TIF districts to release money. We currently release money from TIF districts The downtown TIF district releases money. The San Martin and Martin Road TIF districts have released money in recent years, or will in real recent years, just with the 20-year portions coming out. So our work and development in the TIF districts is paying off. Again, the additional 2-acre site could produce over $25,000 a year in taxes. The difference a year in taxes by making this amendment is about $14,639 per year over that 17-year period. So it's a small amount. Mr. Pratt's probably going to get up and tell you that with this amendment happening, he can start to get some more tenants in there in the building, which we want to see some more employment and activity in that area.
So you're just going to throw him a softball. You're going to throw him a softball. Mr. Pratt, can you get up and just talk about your vision a little bit and expect it? It's right here. He just told you. He's right here to speak.
PWM, Brandon Pratt, Line Development Group, and PWM. Yeah. First of all, Noel, thank you. Did a really good job giving a vision for what it is we're looking at doing. At the end of the day, when we started to build this building, we wanted to bring something different to the city of Waterloo. I think everyone can agree we did something that's unique, different. It's a higher class, it's a higher quality building. And because of that, we're having the ability to try to attract higher quality tenants. Our request is for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to be able to pass along a per lease basis that's affordable to bring economic development to the city of Waterloo. So I just want to be crystal clear that our intention with this increased TIF revenue is to pass along to the tenant. I'm sure it comes as no surprise the building's sitting there vacant. That doesn't do anybody good, myself included, as well as the city of Waterloo. So this request is purely made so that we can pass that along and fill it. We have a national tenant that we've been working with for about 60 days now. We are close. And our intent is to pass that savings along to them to be able to bring them out of a neighboring community to the city of Waterloo.
Thank you, sir. All right, council.
Mr. Mayor.
Sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Simon.
So is this something we could revisit after they get tenants in that building? I mean, this is all, we're kind of doing it in advance. Wouldn't it just be just as simple to wait until they got some new tenants? I mean, everybody has grand plans and everybody wants to bring in X this and X that. Can't we revisit this after they fill the building with the people?
I think his statements were meaning that they're going to use whatever savings to negotiate deals ahead of time to lure more tenants there. It is creating taxable opportunity, but Mr. Pratt, you can speak to it yourself, but I think you're asking for the help and support to
That's
do it.
100% correct, yes, sir.
And so the initial deal that was brought forward, that does not give enough incentive at all to recruit these people? I mean, there's already some incentive there.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're doing everything we can, and we've not been able to fill the building. And if you take a look at the price that we're leasing the building for currently, we're above market rate for the city of Waterloo because there isn't any buildings like what we built. Now, the great news is by building what we built, we're attracting a tenant that also isn't here. And hopefully that's the beginning of some new economic development, and we'll be able to attract those type of tenants. So I am cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to land the tenant we're working with right now shortly after approving this, because it'll give me the lease negotiations that I need to be able to bring it home.
Mr. Bozen?
My concern is that we're already giving 11 years at 95% and the 12th year at 85%. And this tip-up type building was in the plans to begin with, and when the original development agreement was brought forward. It's kind of like we see in other development agreements, and I'm not saying it's happening here, but we enter into development agreements, and then when the numbers don't work, we come back and we redo it, and then at a loss to the city, in my opinion. The debt service levy, I appreciate the fact that we're putting money in the debt service levy. It's at a minimal amount, in my opinion, but we're putting money into it. But we're also, each and every time we do something different, we keep incurring more debt in TIF districts, which makes it difficult to retire debt service levy. We're going to retire some in the Martin Road district just because they timed out. But yet we extended that Martin Road district around that area to pick up any new in that at TIF. And then we're going to be releasing some in the San Martin TIF district. But there's a question of if we release that funding in San Martin 1, whether we're going to have enough money to pay our debt service in San Martin district. And it's kind of a vicious cycle, and I'm not just not in favor of it at this point in time. So thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
No.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
No.
Mr. Simon?
No.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Someone take 19, please.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving an amendment to the development agreement with Baltimore Fields LLC for a new residential subdivision located between Hawthorne Avenue and Eureka Street, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council?
Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr.
Oh, I'm
Dryer,
sorry.
of course.
David Dryer, 3145 West 4th Street. Are we creating a residential TIF, doing this with Baltimore Field? I remember when I moved into town, I spent close to $50,000 remodeling my house, and the individual that is presenting this, I asked him whether I could get a COLA or a,
Cura.
yeah. And he said, no, I don't qualify because I'm in the wrong district. However, the one connotation is supposed to cover the entire city. I didn't get any rebates for 3 years. And now we're gonna maybe create another TIF in town? Doesn't that have to come before the council to create another TIF? If it is so, thank you.
Mr. Anderson?
Noel Anderson, Community Planning and Development Director. As we'll be talking about in number 20 as well, we are looking at the Elevate housing policies to create more housing opportunities in Waterloo. This would be the first standalone residential TIF that the city of Waterloo would do. A lot of cities statewide and a lot of our surrounding communities are now going with residential TIFs, and the developers are going where the funding makes sense for them financially. To compete and to continue to have good housing development happen in Waterloo, we are looking at doing residential TIFs as part of the package.
Mr. Bozen?
Thank you. I'm, as you probably know, I'm dead set against this. And one of the reasons I'm against it is the residential TIF. And I'm going to address that in the next resolution on the Elevate housing. Just because Cedar Falls does it, doesn't mean we have to do it. You know, Cedar Falls isn't in the same financial situation that we are. Their tax levy's going up to little over $12 a taxable thousand. We're gonna settle in at $21.79. These other cities that are doing it are in a better financial shape than we are. This is gonna lock in the property taxes, the school taxes, property tax for Waterloo, the school taxes, the county taxes for 10 years. So nobody's going to get any of that money. And we know what the situation our schools are in right now. The other problem is that residential TIF money is going to go towards paying for the infrastructure, to help pay for the infrastructure of the roads and utilities and everything that were supposed to be put in 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And I have a huge issue with that because had year one or year two progressed, the road and that would be in, and we'd be building houses. But now we're going to build houses there, and granted on an accelerated schedule, which I'm happy to see. But yet we're also going to reimburse the developer for the roads. I think residential TIFs is not the way to go. I'm not going to support it in our Elevate housing plan. It's 10 years of no tax dollars going in, and they're not going to qualify for CLERA or CURA, but the homeowner, once it's purchased, will get that rebate, whether it's $5,000 or $7,500, depending on where the target area is. And I'll address that in the next one. But as far as I'm concerned, we're going to enter into this TIF. And I don't believe that we proposed this. I believe the developer came to us and proposed this TIF. So we're going to actually be paying for something that should have been put in 2.5, 3 years ago. That's where I feel.
Yeah, so, no, you want to talk about the 100% versus, I thought it was 50%, but also how long have we been communicating about trying to put something together for elevating housing?
Noel Anderson, Community Planning and Development Director. So The setup in the residential TIF districts, as we would move ahead with project sites, would be set up at 10 years at 50%. With the developers putting in all the infrastructure, then the city would actually be able to get the other 50% and release that out of the TIFs immediately. There's also some state code provisions that requires a certain percentage of any of the money created in a residential TIF to be used for low to moderate income housing. That's based on the percentage of low to moderate income housing in the county. I think ours is at about 11 to 12 or 11 to 14% or something like that. So this would also require that we take some of the funds. So let me go back. The developer would get 50% of the TIF being created. The other 50%, we would set aside some for low to moderate income housing, and then the rest would be released out of the TIF into the general fund.
Can I get a clarification, sir?
Yes, sir.
No, is that released annually or at the end of the 10 years?
We could release it annually.
No, what are some other, well, we're not on 20 yet. Are we doing this backwards?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We should be doing
Probably
20, then we need to do 19, because if 20 is voted down, I'm not saying it will be, but
Just make a motion to put 20 on the table.
yeah. How does that work? Who read that?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving the Elevate Housing Policies 2025 for the city of Waterloo.
Second.
Motion's been made with the second. Do we have to vote to add, or we're good?
No, just keep talking.
All right. No, talk about the Elevate Housing Policies.
So with the Elevate Housing, obviously we have been looking at trying to be competitive with housing development, with what is happening. And it's not just Cedar Falls, it's not just Hudson, though they are both using TIF. If you look on the south side of Highway 20 right now, as you're heading west, all that housing in Hudson was TIF'd. But it's also, some of our larger housing developers building here. We're very fortunate to have Panther here as kind of a homegrown product. Robeson, Skogman are all based out of the Iowa City, the Cedar Rapids areas, and so they are using TIF there as well. So to continue to have the larger housing developers come here and build the housing units that we know we need to draw the workforce, to draw the residents and all that we want to help bring businesses, to help bring more jobs and more economy here. We are competing with a lot of communities statewide just to get the developers here. The housing policies, basically we are keeping everything the same as we have done it for the sale of property policies, where we will sell it for infill. We have different products for that, but that'll all stay the same. What we're expanding upon for the housing policies is the TIF district, again, looking at the 50% so that way we can still see some revenue coming into the city of Waterloo annually with the new housing being built, and to get some set aside for low to moderate income housing as well. 1 second.
Infill.
Acquisitions for housing, we've added that in as one of our housing policies that we will use 67A whenever we can to gain new housing sites for infill. We will also work in targeted areas. I'll explain that a little bit more as we go through it. And we will work with some of our partners like Habitat, like Hawkeye, like that, if they have specific projects, or Panther, if they have specific projects that they're going to bring, if we can help with some acquisitions. And we've done that to a degree on the last couple of development agreements with Habitat, where they've been able to buy some properties for below market value or at assessed value, and they're going to go ahead and renovate them or build new construction. Additional infill site incentives, new construction on eligible infill. We talked about the $5,000 per unit that we have in place now. That is upon the certificate of occupancy, so it's a very safe standard for the city of Waterloo to see things built. That would go up to $7,500 per unit in the targeted areas. And the targeted areas is going to be a council decision. There's some listed in the policies here. If we want to change those, if we want to add some later or take some out as the areas C development occur, we can do that. Rehabilitation on eligible infill sites, $5,000 per unit on a case-by-case basis for the rehab. So this is, again, case-by-case. We're looking at if we have a large apartment complex or something of that nature that is in dire shape or condemned, someone wants to come in and fix that. The council has the ability on a case-by-case basis to look at, should we offer the 5,000 per unit or 7,500 per unit if it's in a targeted area. Some of the criteria we talked about for the assistance for these larger ones is if the site's in a targeted area. I'm missing a page. It talks about the ownership of the site, if it was from the current owner letting it run into that condition, or if this was a new owner buying it from a previous owner that let it run down to there. So again, it gives the council some criteria to decide if they want to help with the project or not. Funding sources for the infill programs. We're talking about the TIFF funds and how we can use that as a new tool. Bonds, we annually bond nuisance abatement money / housing improvement money. So basically, if we have more housing projects, we use it for that. If we don't have as many housing projects, we use it for nuisance abatement, either 657A or demolition or cleanup of places. And ARPA funds, the city has dedicated the $2,041,277 in ARPA funds for housing projects that included acquisitions, demolitions, infrastructure inspections, as well as new construction. The targeted areas that we listed on here was Walnut Historic Neighborhood. We're seeing some great things happening there with Habitat. There is a limited number of lots that'll probably continue to be built out there, so that would one that we could continue to work in there and then probably take it out soon. The Church Row neighborhood, obviously Habitat and the city have been working in that one with some assistance from some local foundations and all that, but that is a large area. The West Central neighborhood, which is just to the southwest of Church Row, where we've had some deterioration. I think there were some areas in there even that the post office would not deliver mail to. The We Care neighborhood has one that we've been discussing with a memorandum of understanding with some members of that neighborhood. And then we threw in the City View neighborhood and the Maywood neighborhood. These are both neighborhoods that the city has some lots in for infill development, and so we thought we might be able to help try to encourage a developer to start looking at those areas.
Council?
Mr. Mayor?
Sir?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, Mr. I have no objection with your comment, sir, so please.
Into the council packet, I see that it says here that to help bring more housing for residents, future homeowners, and a workforce for business attraction to Waterloo. Usually, business attracts people, not because there's a house here. If you don't have some place for them to work, why are they going to come? That makes no sense to me. That's the cart before the horse. Because if you don't have the work for them, why would they want to come here? I don't give a darn if you have the $600, $800, $1 million house for them to live in. If they don't have a job, how are they going to pay for it? Oh, that's right. We're going to give it to them. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Forrest Dillevue, 1725 Huntington Road. You're talking about tiffing residential. I am quite sure, I am positive, I have a letter at home from the planning department that said we were tiffing the Edison area schools, housing. I went to the development, or went to the planning office and asked, because I have houses around there. I said, is this going to be TIFFed and are the houses going to be TIFFed? And I got a letter and it was signed and said, yes, this is in the TIFF. It's going to be TIFFed. Those houses will be TIFFed. Whether they are or not, I can't tell you because I haven't went back down and checked zoning. I probably will have to. One thing it did do, brought up the residential values around there. I'm going to pay a lot more taxes on all those houses, and I can't eat too much more. I'm going to have to raise their rent with my tax dollars that helped them build the houses, and now I'm getting penalized because I helped build those houses. Now I'm getting penalized with higher property values and taxes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. No to the tip, but just really quickly, I've spoken with numerous employers, and they ask a very simple question: where are folks going to live when they come here? And so That's part of the overall package. You're right. You want the employers, but if the employers, folks have no place to live, there's no reason to bring in a business here, period. And so we get questions all the time from companies wanting more quality housing, and not just in one area of the community, but throughout all the sections of this community. And so it's not a perfect process, but we have been trying to come up with ways that will encourage people to build and to fix up houses. And so it's not perfect, but we are doing the best that we can to fulfill the vision of what our strategic goal was, that our community, thousands indicated they wanted. But Mr. Anderson, the Edison TIFF, sir?
Well, and just to talk about the business attraction a little bit more too, Mayor. So the mayor and myself were, and the entire team of Water, Sewer, Mid-America, everyone that was there, we had an employer that wanted to come here. They would have brought 800 jobs, and we spent one full day meeting with them, going over the details of water, sewer, access points, highways, everything infrastructure-wise. The second day we spent with them was we had Zoom meetings and in-person meetings with the University of Northern Iowa, Hawkeye Community College, the University of Iowa, Iowa State University, to talk about the number of engineers that they had in their programs and the numbers that were graduating. When they graduate, where do they typically go? What do they generally make for salaries? And then that was probably half the day. The second half of the day, we were driving them around to show them our subdivisions. They were looking at new subdivisions. They were looking at old infill sites because, of course, that's 800 employees. They would have had a number of employees making a lot of money. They would have had other employees making an hourly wage. And so they were looking at, kind of that mixed income type environment that we had here in the entire Cedar Valley. And probably really our MSA, which would include Waterloo, Cedar Falls, Evansdale, all of us, but also reaching out to Waverly, to Dyke, to Jessup and all that, just to kind of see, again, if they brought 800 jobs here, where were they going to live or where were they going to build houses? So there's a lot of that with the business attraction. The Edison site is in the TIFF district. That is because it was one large site. We are not allowed to divide parcels when we adopt a TIF district. Now that the lot has been platted, we will be releasing the houses out of the university TIF district, but we had to wait for that process to be finalized. And we will keep the commercial buildings along Falls Avenue in the TIF district and take out the residential. The other note on that is, saying, hey, it's already in a TIF district. So as you may recall, every time we adopt a TIF district, it's actually an urban renewal plan that we adopt. The TIF is just a part of that. In the urban renewal plan, we have to state what our objectives are, what projects we're going to do. We never stated or gave any incentives through TIF for the Edison school site.
Matter of fact, I have a meeting with about 5 of us. I have a meeting with an employer next week to talk about housing and housing units and what is the city doing to try to incent. But council, other questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Sir?
Just to clarify on that, one thing Mr. Anderson was talking about on that 800 job project that you were working with you and I on that, we didn't lose that job because we didn't have the housing. The state of Iowa participated in us losing that job because they wouldn't compete against Louisiana. Am I correct in that, sir?
Which one you're referring to?
Are we talking about the solar project?
I'm asking no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. So we don't always get straight answers when you're not chosen as the site as to why they didn't choose you. We do know that the state that they went to gave $70 million more in incentives than the state of Iowa did.
There you go.
We don't know if they had concerns about workforce or with the housing or anything like that. They didn't say they did. That's always a concern of mine to make sure that we have them.
But the question, so Mr. Bozen.
No, and so as long as I've got you there, I have a number of issues, and we discussed this when Mr. Simon and I had that meeting with you, and I've been 100% against residential TIFs. I made that clear that day. On the $5,000 and $7,500 per targeted area, I would like to see an expiration date on those targeted areas on the $7,500 when the ARPA funds expire. Otherwise, we're going to be locked in at constantly giving $7,500 in target areas. I'm dead set against rehabbing apartment buildings. existing apartment buildings and just rehabbing them and paying the developer to do the rehab on it out of this type of money. But I guess if we have the ARPA funds, but once those ARPA funds are gone, I don't want to be locked into this forever. As far as the targeted areas go, I understand where we came up with our 6 targeted areas. But in all honesty, you could cut off the Waterloo map from Highway 20 to the south and throw a dart at that map and find a targeted area. There's areas all over town that have areas that are blighted that could fall into those targeted areas. So I'm not in favor of the targeted areas, and I'm not in favor of the residential TIFs. So I won't be pushing forward on that. But I would like to see an expiration date on this when the ARPA funds run out. Good use of ARPA funds, in my opinion, is demo. Get in Parkview Gardens down. You know, we've got a number of sites around town that we've been dealing with and eyesores all around town, and I would really like to see us, you know, accelerate this demolition and use some of this ARPA funds to remove these eyesores that the people in these neighborhoods have been putting up for years. Have we even taken down Allstat and Langlish yet? I mean, are we still battling that with hazards and stuff?
So in terms of some of the Allstat Langlish, the Crystal Building, the Parkview Building, so the city was very fortunate to get a $1 million grant
from
EPA
stuff
that would help us with some of the work on some of these. It takes time when you're awarded a grant to actually activate it because you have to go through a process with the federal government. So in trying to use the city funds as wisely as we can, we've been waiting to be able to use that grant funds. We're now able to do that. We're going through those processes.
I would appreciate it if we could really streamline the Parkview Gardens project. That would create an incredible development area in that area. I mean, it's a great neighborhood over there, with the exception of that blighted building. Thank you.
So no one else has something to say?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I am, as far as the targeted areas are concerned, very much interested in those targeted areas, and I know that I've been communicating with you about them because folks in my ward and surrounding wards live with blight right next door and across the street and et cetera, for a host of reasons, and many of them have nothing to do with those who are living there because they don't own the buildings. So I am most definitely in support of this.
The mayor and I were very fortunate to go on a trip to Des Moines, I think about two and a half years ago. And it was very interesting to listen to them. They had, I think it was 4 or 5 targeted areas, one for each ward that they had there. And their note that they had given extra incentives in the target areas, one of the notes that they had given us was, hey, if we're actually running out of money because we're getting so many houses in these target areas that they've already designated, because they were all pretty rough areas, they said that would be a good problem to have. So I would be hopeful that we would have a lot of activity in those.
Thank you.
Sir.
One of the things that was noted was that the TIF could be at a lower percentage. So the 50% was an example of the one that is currently being proposed in resolution number 19. What I want to know is the ultimate goal of all of these TIFs, not only to bring people in, but to increase our tax base to an amount that we can actually continue on the process that we did this year of lowering that levy rate. Because another thing that attracts businesses here is lowering the levy rate so that it is not as high that it is, and people are scared to see that sometimes. Yes, we have very low sewer rates, and we have lots of other benefits in our city that should drive people here, but it's one of the goals of doing these residential TIFs to increase the overall tax base so that we can continue to stabilize our levy rate.
10 years.
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. I would say definitely. You know, if you think of some of these sites, and we can use Baltimore Field, you know, I don't know if this is not approved, if Panther walks away from it, how long does the site sit there empty? And, you know, there's no tax base being paid on it now. So, I mean, 50% is still greater than zero. And so by doing these residential TIFs, if we can continue to get housing coming in, we're seeing better housing numbers than we have in the last couple of years overall. The goal is, again, to get the residential TIFs going, to get the housing built, to release it as fast as we can, because we have no direct costs into the TIF ourselves. The developer puts in the infrastructure. When we can release those TIFs faster, it would be great, and put it right into the general fund.
So, Mr. Mayor, will these TIFs, residential TIFs, would they go over existing housing? Will they only be in new areas?
I think the goal of residential TIFs, as we've written in the housing policies, is for infrastructure provision, so it would just be for building new infrastructure into sites that does not have housing.
So the only way that I am in favor of this is if it is in areas that currently receive no taxable income. So Baltimore Fields is a good example of that. There's nothing there. There should have been something there, and I do have questions for 19 about that. But in those particular areas where there's nothing there, and we're not connecting this to another TIF, so that way we can put strict requirements of how we release and when we release that, I can see how that benefits our taxable income. I can see how that can be something we can do. We have to approve any TIF that comes to this council, correct? Anytime you want to do a certain area, we have to approve it.
That is correct, yeah. And yes, the goal would be not to put them in another TIF, it would be a separate.
Yeah, so then in that case, if it's only in fresh areas with new things that have no taxable income, and now we are getting taxable income, then I don't see a downfall for that particular usage.
Anyone else?
When we're all done.
Yes, sir.
Done? So we're as long as you're up, no? Oh, sorry. So the $7,500 or the $5,000 of infill money that's in that TIF that's going to go to the homeowner, where does that funds come from?
We currently pay that out of the nuisance bonds or the housing improvement funds.
So we actually bond and go in debt to pay the $5,000 or the $7,500 as opposed to taking the money out of that TIF.
That is how we do it now because we haven't had the residential TIF. Obviously, that's a decision the council could make. If you'd rather take it out of the TIF and not bond for it, we could do it that way as well.
I can't see if we've got money coming in that we would borrow money to pay 18 houses with either $5,000. So you're looking at $95,000 or $7,500 per house. Now let me ask you this question as long as I got you here. So 50% goes to the developer, 50% we're going to release. Does that 50%, does the schools get their share of it, their 33%? Does the county get their 13%
Yes.
when you release that, or does that all go to the general fund?
It all gets split like it normally would outside of a TIF.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
That was one, thank you for reminding me. That is one concern that I did have. These properties will not receive Cura or Clura. So that it gets rid of that potential double dip. I'm still shaky on the giving, we said this in your office, on giving the $5,000 and giving the TIF incentive. That's still something I understand that one goes to the homeowner and one goes to the developer. But you're getting a home.
No, and that's something I didn't probably say online here. So yeah, I mean, the infill 5,000 or 7,500 would only go to the developer if they sold the house, and then it would go to the homeowner, not the developer. Right. So that way, the city of Waterloo is getting the house, is getting the infrastructure, getting the lots, getting the housing built if they're building them as spec. So we're helping the developer to make that happen in Waterloo. But we also have the incentive to help a homeowner come to Waterloo that maybe needs that extra funding to be able to afford a new house.
So if someone, let's say, this is not happening right now, but beside Audubon, there's a giant farm there. Let's just say 50 years in the future when I'm gone, hopefully, there is a new development that goes there, and these people qualify for this TIF. So we create this TIF there. Are those people going to get $5,000 for buying a $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 house?
No, the 5,000 and the 7,500 is still only for eligible infill sites.
So, and we determine those infill sites.
And the infill site, by definition right now, is a subdivision that's at least 20 years old, has at least 65% of the lots built up in it, or if there is a unique site in the interior of the city, like Baltimore Field, where it is an infill site, but they are having to plat it and divide it into some smaller lots, but otherwise it's normally for just existing lots.
So this is not going to go for upper income homes. This is going to go for places, unless they are inside the city already and we're revitalizing an area.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Council. Yeah, I'll just elaborate. I've taken a drive around this community, and if you do a windshield view sometimes of some of the houses in our very area and areas that are struggling to get new housing, I think the Elevate housing is actually probably about 15 years ago, I wasn't necessarily in support with doing any level of TIF because I believe that was the that was our bread and butter, right? We get houses. We came with the incentives to try to spur development and give incentivize for people to build homes. But that was like 15, 20 years ago. It's a different day. It's competitive. The zero sum of zero is zero. So I think we have an opportunity to set a new course, to get more housing here, and which is what we need, and which is why it was supported by the community. It's not an easy decision. It's different. But we have been on task force. We have looked around the country. I think this is a way for us to move forward. But the mayor doesn't vote, so Madam Clerk on number, sir.
I had a question for the developer, if that's possible, on 19.
Are we going back? We're going back to 19 after 20, right?
We're doing them both, aren't we?
We're doing both at the same time?
Yeah.
I just had a question.
I have questions. Yeah, Mr.
And my question had to do with Baltimore Fields, and that, because is there a possibility that any of those houses at Baltimore Fields could become rental property?
It's not in the covenants that they cannot.
Okay,
We
because
wouldn't
when we went over.
handicap a subdivision by saying that, but
Okay.
what we do have in there is they can't be short-term. That it needs to be if a rental agreement was written, it would need to be longer than 28 days. So you give the opportunity we have it in Edison right now. We have people that, for certain reasons, can't afford a home or a loan right now. They have credit issues, they have other things. They're renting for us and they're buying on contract.
And that was my question, because when Edison came forward, we were told that these weren't going to be rentals. And the people at the Edison were worried about that.
Yep.
But now some of them are rentals, correct?
I don't recall ever saying they wouldn't be rentals. It wasn't going to be a rental development community. But
Okay.
I just
How much? So how much tax? How much does that pay towards the city? I mean, of course, slamming stuff back there. Okay, just finish your comment, sir. Sorry for the disrespect behind you.
No, you're fine. Again, I don't recall ever saying, because I've never had a subdivision, whether it was with Skogman or Panther, where I've said that it wouldn't be rentals. Because people, for certain instances in their life, may need to rent a home.
I just knew it was a concern from the neighborhood that they didn't want rentals in their neighborhood.
Okay.
And that's why I'm asking about the Baltimore Fields.
Yep.
And that's all I have, sir.
Yep. Okay.
And I appreciate you meeting with me last week.
Yep.
That was important for me too. Thank you.
If I may, on 19, when you bring up different uses of that area, we have the ability, if we can get the prices down of these homes, and costs are rising right now across the nation. Workforce housing tax credit just went from $298,000 to $325,000 because the state understands that it's getting more expensive. By allowing this development agreement, or us coming to this, keeps Waterloo competitive. I don't want to be threatening, but as a developer, if we have cities that are offering this, that we can go and we can build less expensive homes and do it better, we're going to go to the other cities. The other is, where we talked about community development, you have to be a $252,000 sale price to even work with them, to put a homeowner in and give them an opportunity. If we can get these lot prices down, if we can get our costs down, we have the ability to partner with community development. So there is reason here that we're looking at this DA agreement and asking for it to come forward, even though we had one in place already.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Madam Clerk, 19 and 20, or 20 and 19.
Yeah.
Either or.
Okay. Mr. Bozen?
No on both.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes on both.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes on both.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
No on both.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
21, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Foyce.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving an amendment to a development of agreement with Stephen and Yvonne Smith, amending Section 8 to include a grant of $12,000 for the replacement and installation of a new fence on the property at 2324 Maynard Avenue and authorizing the mayor and said clerk to execute said documents.
That motion has been made with a second.
David Dryer, 3145 West 4th Street. I understand there was an original development agreement, which I didn't see on the council packet. But it says here, they removed and replaced the existing fence along the north property line and are planning to install a fence along the east property line to provide more privacy between Green Hill Road and the home. The grant is $12,000 to reimburse them for the fence improvements after they are complete. Again, spent 50 grand at my house. I didn't get a dime from the city. And these people had a development agreement, I'm assuming. And if that wasn't in the original development agreement, why are we modifying it this much later? You want a fence? Put it up yourself. Why are you asking me to help you put it up? I don't agree.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dryer. This is more of a unique situation. No, you want to talk about this? All right. Next person to disrespect me won't be at another meeting. You got the full attention of the entire council. No one commented when you were speaking and very respectful. But the fact that we get to the point where you can throw things at a council meeting or you can disrespect the rostrum for no reason, we got a problem. Mr. Anderson.
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. I don't know if they can bring up the map of the area, but this is the lot on Maynard. As you may recall, on Green Hill Road there is a sound wall that was built back in the early 90s as part of the interstate substitution program. To the sound wall on the south part, or on the south part of the sound wall as it goes along that corridor, or it would have been on about the north 35 feet of the lot that they built on. They took that out. They talked to the neighbors to the north to make sure they were okay with it. And now they would like to replace it as a public sound wall like the other sound wall is along the east side of their property line. They are asking for us to reimburse him the $12,000 for that replacement of the fence. It was not included in the original development agreement that they were going to remove it and relocate it. But as they moved ahead with the building of the construction of the site and now the marketing to sell it, this is what they have requested of the council.
And they had met with us, I don't know how many times they called, and so we bring it to council for council's decision on this. So that's how it ended up getting here, because it's a council decision. Mr. Bozen?
Thank you. I attend all the Board of Adjustments meetings and the planning and zoning meetings. And this was brought up at both of these. And I was under the understanding that, first of all, that they weren't going to remove that sound barrier that comes in off of Green Hill and then goes to the west. But they did remove that, and they put their own privacy fence in. I understand the need for a sound barrier, but it was my understanding that they were fully aware that they were going to have to put that fence in also if they wanted that sound barrier to be extended to go past, at least to the front of their house. So I don't support paying for something after the fact. I truly believe that they were aware of what they needed for fencing, and now that I think once you get the price for that, to create that zigzag type sound wall, the $12,000 is probably about right. I do believe the house just sold in the past week, so I don't think that wall is keeping them from selling the house, because I do think it's sold.
All right, Noel, any other comment, or you good? But yeah, we decided to bring it to council. Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I think I'm just a little confused on what the uniqueness is here and why we would even entertain this.
Mr. Anderson? I don't know why you said
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. Again, this is a request by them. They're saying it was unique because it is, the rest of the sound wall is the city's responsibility as a public sound wall.
What about the sound wall in the proximity of where the house is at?
They went to the planning commission for an encroachment to build it out onto city property. If this is approved tonight, they could build it and be reimbursed on the property that they now have to sell. If they wanted to put it back out onto the city property, we would have to bring forth the encroachment agreement. That was recommended for denial by P&Z with some concern from engineering and leisure services. So we never forwarded it to the city council since it was recommended for denial until we went through this process. There it is. So again, they could build the fence here on the property line, but if they wanted to build it out here to match the other fence, the encroachment would have to come back to you. So if you approve this tonight, they can build it one place. If they came back with the encroachment and you approve that, they could build it further east. If you denied the second one, they could still build it in the first spot.
I think
There's your picture, no.
potentially a portion of the problem or question may be why should the city give 12,000 for this? Why?
And again, that was the request by them saying it was unique that it was the original one was a public wall.
So they tore down the wall.
No.
Correct.
Because it wasn't in the proximity of.
They tore down the
believed
wall
it
to
was
the
good for
north.
the house.
Okay.
On the north side, they tore down that one and now they want to put one there.
To go along the street better to block the sound. Where it was at didn't really help the noise level from where it's at. So
The reason the sound wall was put along the north property line originally was under the interstate substitution plans, they were going to build an elevated bike trail over Green Hill Road and then come back down the other side with the big loops and all that. But that was never built.
It was gonna be built on that lot.
Correct.
So they wanted the different one based upon the building of the house. And like I said, it's, at some point you have P&Z, at some point it has to come back here to be able to vote. They've been probably in how many months?
Probably, I'd say 4 or 5, maybe.
Yeah.
Going with different ideas.
Was that our first house?
That was their first house.
They built. So, but I also understand Mr. Bozen's concerns too on this item. So,
Sir, that was an infill too, wasn't it?
Yes.
So they got $5,000 on top of that for putting that house on that.
That's correct.
On that lot.
Thank you.
all right, any other comments on this? All right, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Bozen?
No.
Mr. Nichols?
No.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
No.
Mr. Childs?
No.
Mr. Simon?
What was that, Mr. Simons?
No.
Okay, I read your lips that time.
Ms. Wilder?
No.
And Mr. Foyce?
All right, so thank you. We finally have a decision on that.
Unanimous.
Number 1,
Mr. Mayor,
ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, and consider and pass for the first time an ordinance amendment to ordinance number 5079 as amended, City of Waterloo zoning ordinance by amending the official zoning map referred in section 10-4-4, approving a request by Panther Builders for a site plan amendment to allow for residential development with 18 lots and 2 stormwater tracts in the R-1 R-P Planned Resident District located at Baltimore Field between Hawthorne Avenue and Eureka Street.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council, anyone? You said June? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
No.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
No.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I'd
ma'am.
like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Bozen?
Yes. It's futile to say no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, that's
Mr.
appreciated.
Mr. Nichols?
We didn't have to push that back.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I'd like to
ma'am.
make a motion to consider and pass for the second and third times and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Motion's been made with the second.
Mr. Bozen?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Ms. Creighton Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Yes.
Mr. Simon?
Yes.
Ms. Wilder?
Yes.
Mr. Foyce?
Yes, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion been made with second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, council.
It's gonna happen. I don't want to delay it 6 more weeks.
Well, I know for the suspension, but